What's up, guys?
Hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
TheAirFresheners, episode 11.
11.
Here we are.
Here we are. First of all, thank you guys so much. We hit 139 downloads on our first month of this podcast,
Woo!
which is pretty exciting. So thank you guys for listening. We've got a few
so
people
exciting.
from foreign countries listening too. So
Really? What's
Yeah.
the foreign
I think
countries?
France, Italy,
So foreign.
somewhere else in Europe. Yeah.
Really?
And we
That's
have, I think, a
cool.
few people up in Canada too. So
Nice. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think if I know anyone over there, and I don't.
nope.
So I've been like, oh, that's this person.
Yeah.
No. But that's so cool.
Shout out to our international listeners.
Yeah, we're fucking international now. We're so cultured.
And for this episode today, shout out to my friend Martin.
Mm-hmm.
He just got married, and he gave us this idea for this episode because he's super into food.
Nice.
His is Martin the Food Guy on TikTok.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're going to be talking today about food, the culture of millennials eating out versus eating in, and just our relationship with cooking and things like that.
And kind of like how things have changed with this quarantine as well. We might hit on like new food habits or, yeah, just like how we're trying to deal with that and just like the evolution of how cooking and eating as a community has changed. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. This is kind of different for us. I don't think we've really done any.
Yeah. Didn't think we'd
episodes
make
like
an
this.
episode on food. and
Yeah,
about
but
it.
here we are.
I think we all love food.
Yeah. I feel like it's just a good like overall topic that everyone can relate to.
Yeah.
So, sweet. Okay. Well, thanks, Martin, for the idea. I feel like we wouldn't have thought of this by ourselves.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So, how about you start? What's your relationship with cooking?
I don't really have too much of a relationship with cooking. When I'm like at my like peak of like working out and like I'm consistent in the gym and all that stuff, like I do make a lot of my meals at home because it's literally just like turkey and rice and chicken and stuff like that.
Boring.
Yeah, super boring. So I really like to spend money on food. That's probably one of my weaknesses is just spending money on takeout. So when I do cook, there's like a few dishes I can make, but I don't know anything fancy. And I hate the process of just like cleaning and
Yeah.
I don't have a strong relationship with cooking.
I feel that. I feel like even with this quarantine, my extent of cooking is like throwing a frozen pizza in the oven. So I'm a real chef.
Oh, they're so good though.
Yeah, they are good. Except I've been eating them a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm fucking over this. I have been eating quiches though, and those are pretty good.
Okay.
So yeah, anyway, pretty much the same. I know how to make like avocado toast and that's it. And I don't even eat that much.
Avocado toast is pretty good.
It is good.
It's healthy.
But like I don't know, when you do make something from scratch, you're like, like I did this. There's an
Yeah.
accomplishment after you cook and like eat for yourself. So that's just kind of disappeared though with needing things to be convenient, especially for our generation. I think it's always like go, go, go.
Yeah.
That the idea of like sitting at home, cooking something for 2 hours, you would have to really like being in the kitchen or having a craft for cooking to appreciate it. I think it's more of, like you said earlier, like a convenience type of thing. Like
Yeah.
you get home from work, the last thing you want to do is spend like 4 hours working on something to eat. So
Even an hour.
yeah, fucking hour's a long time.
Like I'd rather just throw like eggs in a pan, chicken in a pan, turkey in a pan, cook some rice, eat my food, and then be on my way.
Or I'll just drink my dinner a lot of the time. Let's be honest. A bottle of wine goes a long way.
Yeah.
So also I like to eat a lot of cheese and crackers, and that's going to catch up at some point. I'm just waiting for it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like with the quarantine though, we have had to be like watching money. And I've ate out twice this week, which is huge, like such a cut down, because usually I'd have at least one meal out a day. Would you agree that you do that?
Yeah, I would between coffee, especially coffee.
I miss good coffee.
Between coffee and then like eating out, like there's been times of like when I'm making good money at work and I would literally go and I would buy breakfast, coffee, and then I'd go and I'd probably get another meal out somewhere for either lunch or for dinner. So it's like that adds up
Easy.
like a lot.
Especially if you're out all day.
Yeah.
You end up just eating throughout the day.
Yeah. 4, 5, 6 times a week, doing that every month. That's a lot of money you're spending on food. But like at the same time though, it's like, do I really want to go back home and pull all my pans out and cook something when I could just go here and here's my money?
And it's also like the time you spend going to the grocery store, figuring out all the spices and like if you need butter, sour cream, and all these like extra things, like making tacos at home is like one of the most expensive things you can do.
Yeah. The last time I made tacos when my brother came up, I think it was like $20 something for the ground beef, the cheese, the tacos, all the other stuff that I needed in it. And like, I mean, we eat a lot, so like we just pounded it down. But like realistically though, like that would have been enough to feed me for like 5 or 6 days maybe, but like do I want to be eating that same thing every single day for 5 or 6 days?
You really want to be eating ramen 3 times a day for 10 days? No, but I get it. Like it's about like the convenience also in how many people you have. Like if you're cooking a meal with 1 or 2 other people, it's great. It ends up saving you money, but like for people that just have a roommate or you live alone, it doesn't make sense to make those types of meals because you end up spending more than if you were to just go out and get it. So it's a weird dynamic because we've moved so far away from like the community like dining room table. And I was talking about this recently, like how often, like when was the last time someone like ate at a dining room table with like friends?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I don't even have a fucking dining room table. Like we have a little like kitchen like island, but
yeah, same with my apartment too. It's just the kitchen island, and then we've got a couch, and then the table, the coffee table has a table that folds up, and it's usually combined with me either on my laptop or putting something on the TV while I'm eating at the same time. So there's no like relationship to what I'm eating. I'm just eating it while I'm doing other things.
Right. You're not like thinking about like, oh, this tastes good, or I don't know. There's no like conscious eating almost when it's by yourself. And I don't know. There has been like an art form lost in just being about the convenience of trying to find food. Yeah. You know? So
I feel we have a hard time too living in St. Pete, because there's so many good food spots around here, and like we both live like a block away from the main strip of all of the restaurants. So, and also too, being in like the service industry, you get like 50% off all the time. That's nice. You get deals, so it's like there's so much good food, and I don't know.
I think it's just normal for people our age though. Like I don't really think it's that strange that we eat out like more than 5 or 6 times a week. Like I think that's just how life is now. Even
might not be the best for our bank accounts, but it's just how it is.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, well, you don't know how to make anything, so this is your this is your options.
Yeah.
So I actually found, of course, an article about this. Let's see what it's called. It's on wellandgood.com, and it's by Erin Magner. I don't know who that is, but she wrote the article, and it's called "People Are Cooking Less Than Ever Before. Here's Why We're Determined to Change That." So there was a few just like studies that I kind of wanted to touch on that supported like what we were talking about. If I can just find them.
Somewhere in there.
They're in here. It's a big ass article. Okay, this is kind of like relevant to what we were just saying. Why home cooking is actually a form of self-care. According to Alma, mental health community member, home cooking is an ideal mindfulness practice. The process of following a recipe, measuring ingredients, paying attention to textures, smells, and even setting the table fall into the category of executive functioning skills. She explains, for anyone with depression, anxiety, brain injuries, chronic illness, or just wanting to maintain brain health as they age, cooking is a way to encourage this. When we have strong executive functioning skills, we also tend to manage anger and regulate emotions more effectively. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is super interesting.
Makes a lot of sense too, because you have to like manage like if you're cooking multiple things at once, like, and how to like prep things. There's like time management involved in that, and your brain is like actively working through the whole process.
And I guess I've never really thought about it as like a mindfulness practice before, but like thinking about like some things that people do for mindfulness, like whether it's like building a puzzle or the people that like make art with like sand, or like they paint, or like cooking. I guess I've never thought of cooking that way, so that does make sense.
Yeah, like even adding in like, oh, garlic would be good for this, or Italian seasoning. Like, it is creative, and it's kind of sad that people don't really think of it like that anymore.
Yeah, you get the smells, the aromas, you're active in everything that you're doing, you're creating something from scratch. It's just such a beautiful process that I wish I was better at.
Yeah, and I think like, I feel like it's like any other art form, because it just takes practice. Like, as soon as you try something new, my problem is, okay, I'm interrupting myself. My problem is I don't like following recipes. Like, I like to have the idea of what I need, and then kind of going from there, like knowing how long it has to cook, obviously, or whatever, like following the basic structure. But like, I want to be able to add what I want, and like, you know, make it more crispy, or
extra
not
spicy,
do this.
extra spicy,
extra spicy.
Spicy as it can be, everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like maybe that's what makes me not want to cook, is that I'm like, oh, I have to follow the rules. But you don't. You could just start learning things for yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that's a good point, that we've gotten away from having the time, or carving out the time of just like wanting to do that for ourselves.
Yeah,
it is self-care.
Yeah, and it's weird too, because like we think about like again, how much time we spend on like our phones or something like that. It's like, well, we have no problem spending 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day on our phone, but when it comes to spending half an hour on cooking yourself a
You're
nice
like,
meal,
oh fuck, I don't
want to do that. Yeah.
It's such a like
priorities.
Great example of our generation, though. At least we're able to see it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it's not real.
Yeah,
but you know, we value different things, like scrolling through the same fucking 5 photos every like 2 hours.
Yeah, and I totally think that like the biggest thing with our generation for sure is that we want things as fast and as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
So true.
So like using like DoorDash and Uber Eats and like all these other apps and stuff like that too. Like you literally click a button, 15, 20 minutes, you have your food. You might pay twice as much as you would have, but you get to sit at home. You never have to leave. You never have to get ready, and food just comes.
Especially late at night, and you're like, "Ooh, I want this."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Oh, it magically shows up." Dude, you know what that reminds me of? Did you? I think it was the first Spy Kids, and they like put the meal in the microwave, and then all of a sudden she has like a cheeseburger. Did you ever see that?
I remember something like that.
It was like so futuristic. Yeah. I remember my sister and I were like, wow, like that's kind of what we're living in already.
Yeah, it's coming. It's on its way.
But that shit was wild, and the burger looked so good. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Ideal.
Yeah.
Now here we are, 2020,
that's
and
coming.
It just shows up in like 15 minutes. So
we're gonna be
super close.
3D printing food before we know it.
Oh my god, that sounds disgusting. Can you imagine? Like, ew, just like the radiation and. Yeah. We're not even gonna be like humans anymore.
What's that one movie where is it WALL-E, where all of the fat people are just living in like this luxury land, and they're like being hauled around on like these chairs,
and they're
like,
all fat.
They press a button and their food comes to them. Yeah.
Ew, I haven't seen that, but a lot of people have referred that to being like the future of how people are.
It's on its way. It's definitely on its way for sure.
That's terrifying. I saw this part of this article that was talking about the future of food, and I'm trying to find it. Let's see. Okay, so kind of relevant to what you were just saying about food delivery apps. This article talks about like the future of food, and I thought this was super interesting. It says, America is experiencing a massive takeout boom thanks to delivery apps that bring all manner of restaurant meals to your door in just a few taps. In June 2018, report titled Is the Kitchen Dead? Analysts at investment firms predicted that global online food ordering will grow by 20% per year between now and 2030. The market is currently valued at $35 billion, but within the next 11 years, it's set to reach $365 billion, if not more. The report also envisions a future in which drone delivery and robot chefs lower the cost of takeout to the point where it's actually more expensive to cook a meal at home than to order in.
Jeez.
Dude, that is so nuts.
Wow.
Because, like, can you imagine it's going to be so inconvenient to go to the store, pick out food, and, like, have them.
Yeah, that makes me wonder what's going to happen with, like, grocery stores and stuff, because no one's going to be buying food anymore.
No.
Damn.
Just, like, launch from the air, like, drop to your house. That's actually terrifying.
Yeah, there was a video I saw on Instagram, and this guy was, like, chasing a one of the food delivery apps. It had the robots that, like, drops the food off to you on, like, the street, and it, like, skipped this guy, like, that brought him his food, and then it didn't give it to him. So this guy was, like, chasing the robot around for, like, 20 minutes saying, like, give me my food.
That's just gonna be a normal thing we see in 2030.
Robots all over delivering
if we fucking
food.
make it there. By the way, 10 years is a long ass time, and like how this year is going, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not being pessimistic, but I'm just saying it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how everything shapes from there.
Yeah, who knows?
But that'd be such an interesting future, though. Like to think that you may never cook food again, and that takeout could be cheaper than that. Like, could I buy like some really good sushi for like really cheap?
Probably not. It's gonna be so expensive.
True.
That's what I mean. It's like, how can that be more convenient?
Yeah.
Does that mean grocery store food is going to just keep going up? I guess.
Or
right?
it's like the grocery stores making the food and then delivering that kind of food to you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Using low cost things or something like that. I don't know. Interesting.
Wow. Or Amazon's just going to take over everything. They already have.
Yeah, you know, what was it? Amazon, before Amazon was named Amazon, the name for Amazon meant, it was like conquer or something like that. Like, I don't remember what the name was, but the idea behind Amazon is it was literally just going to conquer everything. And
well, they did it.
Been doing that for sure.
That is so crazy. I'm going to look into that.
And I think Amazon owns Whole Foods now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think Whole Foods is like trying to push to like be bigger. And then also to like when you walk into like Whole Foods, I don't know if they've started this or if they're going to start it, but you basically get your groceries and then I think you walk out and you don't even have to pay. And whatever that you have to pay, but whatever that was in your cart, it gets registered and charged to your Amazon account.
Whoa.
Or something like that. Yeah, it's some crazy shit.
It's like less talking to people, the better.
Yeah.
Remove all social contact, which is also like a big part of going out and getting your food, or like we were talking about, like sitting at a restaurant and eating.
It's a social aspect. It's like if you take servers away, like that's 50%. That's more than 50% of your experience of eating.
Right.
Like I love sitting down at a table with a good server. It makes everything so much better.
It's different. It's part of like social interacting and enjoying food. And I don't know, it kind of worries me to think about like the evolution of how closed in people are.
Yeah.
But with this whole pandemic, I feel like people are aware of how important human connection is, and like physical touch, and just that humans have to be like physical social beings. Like we can't just be closed into our house and like
isolated by ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows? It's just a weird time.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been like such an awakening of people, even over the past like 3 weeks with all this going on. So it's hard to be like, in 10 years from now, we're going to have this. Like, we really don't know what, like,
it's
the
6
next
months
2
from now.
months. Yeah, exactly. Whatever. It's just, like, all up in the air. So, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm going to try to cook something this week. Attempt. And by that, I mean, like, I don't know. I made mac and cheese today.
There you go.
Yeah, so healthy.
I think in the past, like, 2 weeks, I've had... like pasta with pasta sauce, which that's easy. Literally nothing. And then every morning I've been waking up and I throw like 5 eggs, cheese, and bacon into a burrito shell.
That sounds good.
It's pretty good. It's been really good.
I might even get taco shells and put it in there, like hard taco.
Yeah, that'd
shells.
be really good. And then frozen pizzas. Literally had a frozen pizza almost every day.
Really?
Like at home with my roommate, I'm like, hey, you want a frozen pizza? And then just throw it in the oven and it's done. I ate an entire DiGiorno pizza to myself last night. The entire thing.
Damn. Yeah. At least it's like something though, and it holds you over.
Yeah. It's my daily dose of calories, just adding up
Adding
in the quarantine.
2 months from now, you're gonna be like out here.
Yeah.
Amazing. I don't know. I feel like this was a good conversation. Maybe we'll build on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially like the social community eating aspect. I feel like that would be interesting to get into.
Yeah. And then also too, I think it's good that we're documenting like our perspectives on this now, because who knows where the world's going to be in 2 or 3 months, and our relationship to food and eating could be completely different depending on what happens.
Right. So, yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
We will see.
Definitely. But thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you. See you soon.
Peace.